Aloha, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to another week of Trauma Recovery University. I'm your host, Athena Moberg, and your amazing co-host, Bobby Parrish, is in the green room with me right now. We had a couple of technical difficulties today, so I just want to apologize for coming onto the air just a few minutes late. And this broadcast may run a little bit long today as the topic is quite sensitive and again, we came online just a few minutes late, but this is live, and that's what happens when we do live broadcasts. So I would like to welcome you, especially if you are tuning in on a podcast listening platform such as iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, or iHeartRadio. We're in the process of getting ready to launch all of that, and we're really excited to see how many new visitors and friends and people in our community that we gain by expanding our reach in that way. So, okay, I'm Athena Moberg. Your amazing other co-host is Bobby Parrish. This is the topic of suicide, and it has been quite a day. We do have our chat that we start on Monday mornings early in the US, which is evening in the UK. And I do want to welcome our viewers that are viewing live from the UK right now. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're always happy to see you. So this is an interactive broadcast every single week on Mondays. You can go to nomoreshameproject.com or traumarecoveryuniversity.com, and right there on the page, you can watch us live right now, and you can tweet us below. So if you're watching this anywhere but traumarecoveryuniversity.com or nomoreshameproject.com, then we encourage you to go there right now so that you can interact with us live, ask us questions. This is a live Q&A and live Twitter chat slash video cast that happens every single week on Mondays. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and turn this over to Bobby Parrish. I do want to let you know that we would like to say thank you for being one of our loyal viewers, listeners, subscribers, or just awesome survivors. And because we're grateful for you, we want to give you complimentary access to our downloadable resources. And you can get those by going to traumarecoveryuniversity.com or nomoreshameproject.com, and you can click on a tab that says downloadables, and you'll be given immediate access to this resource. The resource that goes along with today's broadcast is called Abuse Survivors and Suicide. So again, chats can always be triggering. These video casts can be triggering. Practice excellent self-care and reach out to our friends over at RAINN.org. That's RAINN.org. If you are in crisis, and if you are triggered while watching this broadcast or listening, please press pause and come back later. I'm going to turn this over to Bobby Parrish, who will bring us up to date on everything we need to know about healthy, informed trauma recovery. Take it away, Bobby.
Hi, guys. I think it's so funny. I'm sitting there watching Athena, and she has this beautiful Maui background, and I have Pokemon. So, no, they're not mine. They're my son's. I don't play Pokemon, but I have. He's my son, and sometimes I play Pokemon with him. But
gotta catch them all.
Yes. So I thought, oh, that's funny. Yes. So there you go. There's Pokemon in my background. We want to talk for a minute, just issue a few more public service announcements about awesome stuff that is coming up for Trauma Recovery University. August 27th is our 1-year anniversary. Right date? That's the right date, right, Athena?
August 27th. And yes, August 27th. And I don't know what day of the week that falls on, but I think we should do some sort of an anniversary episode. If it doesn't fall on a Monday, we should do an extra one or something, or like a bonus video.
Absolutely. I'm looking here to see.
Hey, Matt's here. Melissa's here.
Thursday. It's a Thursday.
I might be able to do that. I think I might be able to do that. If I'm not out of town, I will definitely be able to do that. So, yay!
So we are so thrilled, and I don't think either of us could have known what kind of a large community and an international community that would be born from these Google Hangouts or Twitter chats and the launching of Trauma Recovery University. And we are just so thrilled, and we're so grateful for all of you that tune in every week You watch us on YouTube, you watch us on Roku TV, you listen to us on a podcast format, and each time someone new listens, that's just one more person that gets the help that they need to have a healthy, informed trauma recovery. So keep sharing that we're out here. Keep sharing the various formats that people can get in touch with us. Twitter chats, Facebook groups, YouTube, here on the live Google Hangouts, Roku TV, so many ways. And we also have a virtual event that's going to be coming up in August. Maybe we'll get that to coincide somehow with our 1-year anniversary celebration. And that
Ooh, that's a great idea. Yes, and our shift in focus. I just had like yes, exactly. That's exactly what we should do. We should coincide the virtual live event with our anniversary and what has come out of Trauma Recovery University and all of the live Twitter chats and broadcasts. And I know that we're in the middle of announcements, so I don't want to forget to say thank you to every single person on YouTube that has been watching us and subscribing to us. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We got our 1,000th view on our most popular video ever today, and that is child abuse survivors and narcissistic parents. And the crowd has spoken. We are shifting our direction a bit, and we're going to be talking a lot more about narcissistic personality disorder, narcissistic abuse specifically, as it pertains to child abuse. So, Bobby, that sounds so exciting. What a great idea. Yes.
But please don't worry, we're going to be very comprehensive in everything that we cover about trauma recovery. We're just noticing that you are telling us by watching that video the most often, by asking questions about that the most often, that narcissistic parents is something that you really want to hear more about. And we talk with people, they have narcissistic siblings who abuse us. We've had lots of requests about sibling abuse. And so we are going to be delving into that topic more deeply because you've told us that's something that you want. So stay tuned for more information.
That's what I meant. I kind of meant to say that.
I know, that's exactly what you meant.
Like, I didn't mean that we're like, all of a sudden, like, you thought we were going to do this, but really we're going to do this. Like, I meant like you guys are telling us that yes, you're so excited to hear more and be empowered and hear more information about narcissistic abuse. And we're excited to be studying that and getting ready to start speaking more openly about that, because that is what you have told us that you would like us to do. So
yes, and just keep letting us know what you want us to talk about. We're open. Somebody private messaged me today on Twitter and said, can I suggest a topic, or is that not the way it works? That is the way it works. Every topic that we talk about has come from one of you. We don't just sit here and think up topics willy-nilly. I like that word, willy-nilly. That's 2 words.
Willy-nilly.
You haven't heard that one? Yeah, willy-nilly.
My son used to say it. My son used to say it. It just it tickles me every time. It makes me think of him.
Not to be confused with Milli Vanilli, by the way.
No.
No. Anyway.
Yeah.
We should turn this into a comedy broadcast sometimes. Okay.
Oh, we're gonna get the hate. We're gonna get hate mail again now from that lady that said that we're too silly and that we're doing the entire world a disservice by being on the air.
Yeah. Well, I'm mute on that response there. So stay tuned for more information. We're going to let you know about all the information that's happening for our anniversary and the virtual event. We're lining up speakers to talk about this event of narcissism. There we go. And especially talking about relationships with narcissists, how they've affected us, whether that was your parent, your sibling, your spouse. We've also had a lot of people talk about what it's like to be married to a narcissist and the abuse that comes from that. So stay tuned. Make sure you pop on over to the website and give us your email address. Sign up on the email list. We do not send out a lot of email. All we're trying to do is keep you up to date about what's going on so you don't miss a thing. So
hey Bobby, We're sending hugs, virtual hugs to Melissa and Matt because they're tuning in live. Did I tell you that I set up a conference call and I Skype meeting with the gal who is a like master's or PhD or something in social work, and she focuses all of her studies, or her area of expertise is narcissistic abuse, or narcissistic victim abuse, which is now a new thing in the DSM. Anyway, I talked to her on Skype and I asked her if she would be interested in doing being part of our virtual event, and she said yes.
Cool.
So,
that's awesome.
I know, I'm so excited. And I want to reach out to this other guy who's in the UK, because I watch all of his YouTube videos on narcissistic abuse and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And he's amazing. And I would love to be able to get him to even speak for just a couple minutes, whether it's pre-recorded or like we get to interview him or something.
Yes.
He's amazing. And our UK peeps would love him because he speaks their language. It's like so awesome listening to him, because I get this idea, like whenever we're doing our CSAQT on Mondays, that like that's the exact voice that everybody's speaking in, because I understand everything that he's saying. Do you know, does that make sense? Anyway, because you know how they talk? They talk different than we talk. I mean, in the UK, and it's just culturally, it's totally different. Anyway, I believe his name's Richard because I went under his business account, but I'm trying to see if he would like to join our virtual event as well. So
fantastic. The more experts, the more information that we get, and the more information that we get, the more empowered we are, and knowledge is power. So I think it's fantastic that we'll all be getting a lot more information about the topic, which will better allow us to both heal from narcissistic abuse and to watch out for narcissists when they show up in our lives, so we can set firm boundaries, or even if we can, walk away and not have a relationship with that person. So I don't think there's anything but wonderful stuff that can come from talking about the topic some more.
Yeah, definitely. We, Melissa and Matt both are saying that they appreciate our humor and our the way that we do our broadcasts. And then, but then they said, Matt says, shh, wait, we can't let the dull people know that we're having a really good time. Straight face. Totally, totally serious. So anyway, we're not totally serious, straight face. You can go on to YouTube and find about 300,000 other people that will be straight-faced and serious about every single topic in the world. We tend to just show up as ourselves. Shame on us for being authentic. So find another channel if we bother you and annoy you, because I have been accused of being annoyingly chipper. So without further ado, I would like Bobby to be extremely professional while also being amazing. And perhaps we could transition into content and talking about suicide, because this is a serious topic that takes the lives of hundreds of thousands of people every single year. And as we're going to see in our one page that Bobby sent all the content for, through all of our research, we know statistically that for every one completed suicide, there are 25 others that attempted it.
Yeah, that's a huge number. And the one person who completes suicide, that's one person every 13 minutes in the United States. Just in the United States, more than 40,000 people every year die by suicide. It's the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. It's the second leading cause of death in teenagers. So it's a huge, huge, huge issue. And when you think that one person commits suicide, actually dies by suicide every 13 minutes, and then 25 times that number attempt it. I mean, that's like one person every 30 seconds attempts suicide. So it's a huge topic. And having worked with survivors for 18 years now, I think it's relatively rare that a survivor, especially one who went through pretty systemic, sustained abuse, doesn't at some point think about suicide. And it's important that we understand that a little bit about why people think about suicide, consider suicide, because when you understand why, then you are more able to help them or to help yourself when you feel that way. There are so many myths about why people try to kill themselves, from they're just trying to get attention, to they, want to get out of doing something, they don't want to work anymore, and they think if they try to kill themselves, they'll get disability, and so much of that. In fact, the largest percentage of it is not true. Yes, there are people who threaten suicide as a way to manipulate us, but the vast majority of people who attempt suicide, and certainly those that complete suicide, are actually trying to escape emotional pain. The very, very best analogy that I have ever heard about this is one that I wrote in an article called The Why Behind Suicide, and it's linked in our one page. You can click through and find it. It's in Rachel in the OC's blog. Rachel Thompson, who was the original beginner of our first Twitter chat, Sex Abuse Chat. She and I started that in January of 2014, and then Athena came in a few months later. So, and this is the analogy.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, no, I came in January.
No, I meant you stepped in to be more helpful a couple months later.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Sorry. No, you've been there from the beginning.
I wanted to point something out regarding something that you said in the very beginning a few moments ago, and that is the survivors that incur sustained abuse over a long period of time.
Right.
And the statistics regarding suicidal ideation. And I also wanted to comment briefly. The verbiage that you're using is often not used, and I wanted to commend you for saying completed suicide instead of successful suicide. Many of the people that I received private messages from today were outraged because of the way they were treated by helping professionals in the psychiatric field, whether it be at urgent care facilities, emergency rooms, or even speaking with their general practitioner when getting diagnosed and prescribed medication. The verbiage that's used to describe someone who dies by suicide as a successful suicide, as though, yay, they win, it's just wrong. And when we're talking about suicide, this is not on the one page, so I just wanted to mention it briefly. And that is, if you are talking with someone who is suicidal, do your absolute best to honor them and honor their feelings and honor the words that they're using. And in response, be mindful of the words that you're using to describe what it is that they are going through. Because if they complete their suicide and they kill themselves or they commit suicide, those are words that you need to be using when you're talking with them about. If they're saying things like, I want to make it go away, I'm going to harm myself, I'm thinking of doing it, those types of things. We need to make sure that we're using the proper verbiage, similar to when we're teaching our children the proper anatomical parts of our body. So very, very important to be using the proper verbiage. Like as Bobby was just saying a moment ago, she's saying, someone who has completed suicide or someone who died by suicide. So often you're going to out in the with helping professionals, the verbiage that's used is so atrocious, and they say things like, well, you've been here before and you lived through this, so you're going to be totally fine. And each case is so so sensitive and so unique, and I'm just privileged to be doing this broadcast with Bobby so that we can discuss this topic further. And I didn't mean to interrupt your train of thought, Bobby. I just I wanted to just say thank you for using the verbiage. Yeah,
those are important.
And I didn't add them to the one page because I wanted to keep it as one page, and there was nothing that was already on our one page that I wanted to substitute for what it was that I just said. So hopefully everyone that is reading our one page is able to also watch this video or listen to this podcast so that they can get all of the information and not only the one page and not only the broadcast, because they very much go Hand in hand.
Hand in hand, absolutely. And I think you've made two valid points. There is a myth out there that if someone is thinking about suicide and you talk about it with them, that it actually increases their suicidal feelings, and that is not true. So if someone is talking to you about feeling suicidal and they're saying things like, I just don't think I can do it anymore, I think I'm just gonna take care of it, absolutely say to them, ask them, are you thinking about killing yourself? Say the words, ask the question. I can almost guarantee that at least 9 times out of 10, they are going to feel relief that you understand what they're going through, and you're not sitting in judgment of them. And that second piece that you talked about, wow, have I been there, done that. The mental health system, in my opinion, does not do a good job of handling the crisis of suicide, especially if an individual has been suicidal at multiple points. I've gotten to the point, I don't do therapy anymore, I've shifted over into coaching, but as a therapist, I got to the point where I didn't even feel good sending a client to the emergency room when they were highly suicidal, because the treatment they would get there would actually make them feel worse. So this to me is a huge, huge issue in our country, and it's something that we need to keep in mind when we are helping someone who feels badly, or when we feel badly. It can be hard to get the right help. You have to, if someone you know is feeling suicidal, stick with them until they get help that is effective. If you have to help them look in multiple places, help them look in multiple places. It's not easy, and sometimes we are dismissed or shamed for feeling that way, or emotionally backhanded more often than I would care to count. So, yeah, excellent points, Athena, and I think things that we definitely need to talk about. And the whole goal of this is, darn it, let's talk about it. Most of us as survivors, like I said, have felt suicidal at one time or another. Let's not hide this under a rock. The more we talk about it, the fewer of us will die by suicide. Let's have open and honest discussion so that we all feel we can talk about it. This morning in chat, so many people talked about being shamed or feeling ashamed for feeling suicidal. No, let's talk about it. I'm not going to shame you because you feel that way, because I know what feeling suicidal means. And I'm going to go back to the analogy, and this is the best analogy that I've ever heard, and I think it will help put things in perspective. When 9/11 happened, and if you were unlucky enough, I think, to watch some of the live footage, you saw the terrible fire and the damage to the World Trade Towers. And you saw people actually leaping from the buildings, from the windows in the buildings. There was no way that they were going to survive, but they were being burned alive in the situation, which is an intensely painful experience. They don't want to die. It wasn't their intent to kill themselves by jumping out the window. The intent was to jump out the window to get away from the intense pain they were feeling. It's the same thing with suicide. Most of the time, people who are thinking about suicide are not doing it because they actually want to die. They just want the pain to end. And it's really important here that you understand that our brain cannot tell the difference between emotional pain and physical pain. Pain is pain is pain is pain. So when you are in incredible emotional pain, it's the same as if you were in incredible physical pain. feeling suicidal is about feeling pain, the pain of betrayal, the pain of rejection, the pain of depression, the pain of PTSD, all of those things. And so when you meet someone who's suicidal, when you feel suicidal, recognize that the most important thing you need to do is help yourself or help that person relieve some of their emotional pain. So that's why we talk about the analogy. That's why we talk about suicide, so that we can help everyone understand it. We unpack it, unwrap it. We're not hiding it under anything. We're not judging it. This is what it is. And so you know how to get the help that you need, and you know how to help someone, a loved one, who is feeling suicidal. Athena, before we get into the one page, I know you have had some specific training about dealing with people who are suicidal. I want to give you a chance to talk about what it is that you have learned, because I know it's not on the one page, and I don't want to lose the opportunity for you to share that information here live today. So can you do that?
Yes. Thank you so much, Bobby. Wonderful. Before I share about my suicide training, I just wanted to, since this is a live Q&A, you guys, you can use the hashtag No More Shame, and you can tweet us live on Mondays, every Monday, 6:00 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. Melissa would like to know, well, first, Matt brought up a very good point. Thank you so much, Matt, for bringing this up. This is something that we can help people that are feeling overwhelmed or feeling like they would like to kill themselves, feeling like they're seriously considering committing suicide, having suicidal ideation, suicidal thoughts, possibly making a plan. They're completely overwhelmed and flooded. Matt is saying another thing is offered to them, don't take too much on. When you're having these types of thoughts and you're trying to function in daily life, don't take too much on. This is a dangerous minefield. Get help if you don't feel comfortable. So that's a good point, Matt. And to your point, we are going to be mentioning some things on the one page about that. Thank you for bringing that up. And we also have another excellent resource for free on this channel on child abuse survivors and overwhelming emotions. So please look up that resource, the video resource, along with the one-page downloadable PDF resource. So true, Matt. Thank you very much. And Melissa says, where do you think is the best place for someone to go if they are feeling suicidal? This is an excellent question. Bobby, I know that you and I both have dealt with suicidal ideation personally, and we have contemplated suicide. If it wasn't, I think that if it wasn't for divine intervention, as you all know, I'm a woman of faith, and I'm deeply rooted in my faith, and I believe that it was a divine intervention that kept me from taking my own life. I believe God gave me my son as a gift, and if it wasn't for him giving me my son, and for the relationship that I had with my son, I probably would have taken my own life. I would have succeeded in following through with the plans that I had. I had it all planned out. I had several plans. I had backup plans for my backup plans. That's how serious I was about escaping the pain that I had from the childhood abuse that I incurred, the exploitation, the torture, the beatings, all of it. All just wrap it all up with a pretty little bow and label it abuse. I was in a lot of pain. The after effects of that abuse and the confusion that it caused me in my mind, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't make excellent choices, and just all this stuff. I wanted to parent my child in such a great way, and I couldn't do anything for myself. It was just like my walk didn't match my talk, and I had such guilt and shame over that hypocrisy, and I just couldn't figure out how to make good choices. And so I had come to the conclusion that it was going to be best if I just ended it. What I did is not what I would recommend someone else doing. So Melissa, your question, where should someone go? Where is the best place to go? I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that you need to contact the suicide helpline because I've had great success with them. I've had better success with RAINN. RAINN's live chat feature on their website, rainn.org, you're immediately put into a waiting room and someone immediately addresses you personally, and you're able to receive usually trauma-informed care from someone, and it's instantaneous. You actually can live chat with them, and they will ask if you would like to speak with someone on the phone. I volunteer on a suicide task force, and that's what Bobby was mentioning earlier. I would honestly, we're going to have stuff up on our website. I received, I think, 8 private messages after our Twitter chat today throughout the day regarding, we need resources. What if we don't know who to call? What if we don't know where to go? What if we don't know? What if we don't know? So what we want to do, we want to be that resource for you if you don't already have a place to go. And we're going to have a spot on our website, which we started to do, Bobby. We started to do the Are You in Crisis? And then I never followed through with all, because I had all these videos from everybody, and I think I was overwhelmed. So not to the point where I was having suicidal thoughts, but I was definitely overwhelmed at the time, and I had a lot of stuff going on with my family and la da 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 da. So I say rainn.org, or you can, we have the suicide helpline that's on our one page as well. And Melissa, I want to be comprehensive in the answer to the question that you have. And in order for me to be comprehensive and in an effort to be respectful of everyone's time, I'm going to say go to traumarecoveryuniversity.com when you view this video and look for a tab that either says, Are You in Crisis? Or suicide or something. Float your cursor and there will be something on the menu, and we'll get that up just as soon as possible, because Melissa brings up a good point. People just don't know. They found us online. They found us on YouTube. They found us on Roku TV. And this is where they're at. They're like, yeah, I Googled the word suicide and you came up because I wanted to kill myself. So what do I do? So if that's you and you are thinking about suicide and you are contemplating taking your own life and killing yourself, we want to encourage you not to do it, first of all, and that we know that you're in pain, and we want to direct you to our website, and you'll have a full bevy of resources that you can reach out to that will be compassionate, and you can always direct message us. Continue to watch this broadcast, and we put up our contact information at the end, and you can contact us personally. We will get you in touch with someone else. We are not the end-all be-all person for you. So circling back around to Bobby, who asked me about my suicide training. So I'm not sure if you guys all know this or not, but as a very, 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 very young girl, I mentioned in previous broadcasts, I was sort of handed off to different family members. Well, one of the family members that I was handed off to be taken care of, I got to have like really great times. I think it was great times. I have like kind of blank spots on part of it, but I was staying with them and these family members, and my other cousins were there. I had me and a boy cousin and a girl cousin. None of us were very close, but we were all there together, and I learned Bible verses and stuff, and I remember it being good. I remember it being really wonderful. But the one cousin that was there, my boy cousin, he took his own life, and he killed himself. He committed suicide, I believe, in the year 1999. It might have been the year 2000. It's all a little bit of a blur right now, because I found out after the fact from a family member in an El Pollo Loco parking lot, and I was very angry that I did not know, that no one even told me when they knew ahead of time. Like, I was so upset. But it was just an effort to control, because this person that told me was a narcissist, and they just needed to control everything. So long story short, suicide has touched my family in big, big ways, and I'm passionate about it. And back in 2010, so about 5 years ago, I started receiving some suicide training. And then I got an opportunity to get certified through the government, through a government grant. And the training I received is called ASIST training, ASIST, and I received Safe Talk training. And you can Google ASIST suicide training or Safe Talk suicide training, and they have government grants that will literally pay for you, anyone in the whole wide world. The government will pay for you to get certified for free. You don't have to pay for it. All you have to do is, I think, like, get there. And I had to take a ferry to another island to be trained. And I had to stay there for days just so I could get this training. So, and then the follow-up training for that is getting mental health first aid certified through the government and through NAMI. And so I've received all this training. I'm a mental health first aider, and I'm currently sit on a suicide prevention task force for the county that I live in. So you can do this too. You can get involved too. And I'd say if I had to wrap it all up and give you one takeaway that is like the pillar of my training that has helped me the most, I would say that making sure you use the correct verbiage, which is what Bobby and I have been driving home this entire broadcast. Don't tiptoe around the topic of someone telling you that they're self-harming or that they just want to die. So if someone is messaging you, like I often get private messages on Twitter, I've been getting them for years, and people know that I'm a helping professional and that I'm compassionate and I'm empathetic. And so they say, just kill me. Just kill me. I just want to die. I can't take it anymore. And they'll just throw out this language quite often about, nope, I'm done. I'm over it. I OD'd again last night. I took all these drugs and I just want the pain to end. Now, don't mistake what I'm saying to you in a casual tone of voice to mean that I am minimizing what it is that they're going through. What I am saying is my response is never, why? Why do you want to do it? Why do you want to hurt yourself? I instantly go to the heart of the issue and I say, why do you want to kill yourself? Why do you want to complete a suicide? What has happened to you in your life that is causing you to want to kill yourself? How are you going to kill yourself? What is your suicide plan? I go immediately to it, instantly. And you can't just ask that question and not be prepared for the answer, guys. You got to go look up and look up this training that I told you about. Make sure you're ready for it. Could possibly trigger you. If suicide's touched your family or if you've had suicide ideation, you got to be ready for the answer, and you got to be ready to be compassionate, and you got to be ready, copy, paste, Control-C, Control-V, ready to give them that number that they need to call for RAINN or for the suicide hotline, National Suicide Hotline. And we also have some great resources for the UK that Bobby got a hold of. So that's my 2 cents about my training. It's not located on the one page. It's just something that I wanted to share with you guys. It's something I'm very, very, very passionate about because it touches not only my family, but myself. Like I was there. And, you know, my closest family member was actually suicidal. And it was heartbreaking for me. And this was only 5 years ago, five and a half years ago. And it was crushing for me. It took me months and months and months to recover from the fact that they were suicidal, and I didn't know what to do. And that's what sparked the interest in me wanting to get the training that I got 5 years ago because of that particular instance. So I don't know anyone that hasn't been touched by suicide. So if you're looking for a sign to stay alive, this is it. And we're going to make sure we have resources up on our website, and we're going to dive into the one page after I turn this back over to Bobby, because Bobby, I'd just love to hear your thoughts on anything that I just said. This broadcast may run long, but your thoughts and your instinct and your intuition about a response to what it is that I mentioned, it means more to me than the time frame of the video.
Well, you know, I actually have a history of a suicide attempt back in 1994. So I've been there. And I've actually gone as far as following through on trying to kill myself. It didn't work out. I woke up the next day in the cardiac care unit. But for me,
I'm glad it didn't work out, by the way. I'm glad it didn't work out.
Well, thank you.
I want you here because you're amazing, and I'm glad you're here. So, okay, continue. Sorry.
I'm glad now, too. I wasn't so happy then. But again, it was just about it was two things. I didn't want to be in pain anymore. And I had not found the right help that I needed to get better. I had been suicidal for so long, and instead of getting the help I needed from mental health professionals, I was getting shamed. In fact, I can remember one time sitting in front of my psychiatrist, and I had gone through a period of time where I was very suicidal, and then I wasn't. I felt better. And then the next time I went in to see him, I told him that I was feeling suicidal again. And he looked at me with the most exasperated expression on his face and in his tone of voice. And he said, I thought we were over that. Yeah. So
I'm
there's
so sorry that you went through that, Bobby.
there's no way that you can't hear that and not feel shamed. When I woke up in the hospital, one of the pastors from my church came, and she looked at me and she was so angry with me. And she said, are we done with this stupid nonsense now? So I am acutely aware of how when we are suicidal, it can be difficult to find help that is compassionate and not judgmental. Melissa asked online, okay, so it's hard to find someplace. Where do we turn? And Athena, you made an excellent point about reaching out to the hotlines. I'm going to tell you that when someone is highly suicidal, and highly suicidal, lethally suicidal means they have a plan and they have the means to implement the plan, and they are intent on implementing the plan, okay? 3 parts. So they have a plan. So perhaps their plan is to take some pills. So they have a plan. They have the pill sitting in front of them, in their hand, on their table, wherever it is, they're close at hand, and they are intent. In those situations, the best option, in my opinion, is to call 911 or for that person to go to the emergency room. I understand that they are not going to get a lot of clinical help there. It's kind of awful, but I have kind of given up on my clients getting any kind of clinical help in a psychiatric ward. What they will get
I have a question. I'm sorry, did you say yes to call 911? I wrote that they should call 911, but is that not right?
Yes, absolutely. You or they should call 911 or go to the emergency room.
Yeah, but it's
because
they're not going to get compassionate care. Finish your thought.
Well,
I'm so sorry.
they're going to be safe.
Compassionate care.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not going to get,
and
exactly. That's what they're going to get. They're going to get safety. And hopefully they're going to get hospitalized for a few days until they're stabilized. And then afterward, you're going to have to help them get the right care. And I say this on the one page, and I'm going to say it right here while we're face to face. If you frequently feel suicidal, then that is a sign that you're not getting the appropriate care that you need. So when I finally got the right care I needed, when I did a stay at an inpatient trauma recovery center, specialized trauma recovery centers are the only places I ever feel good about sending my clients to, because they actually provide clinical help. My experience with local psychiatric wards is they're more about getting you stable and getting you out the door, which is essential when you are actively suicidal. Essential. You have to be safe. And if being in the hospital is what's needed to happen, then by all means do it, go, and be safe. And then afterwards, then get the clinical help that you need. So if you're actively suicidal frequently, you're not getting the right kind of therapy, your medication is not right, or the mental health professionals that you're working with are not a good fit for you. Okay? So if you're frequently suicidal, that's an indication you're not getting the right kind of help. Either you explore some different options, or you have someone sit down with you, a safe person, and the two of you together work to explore different options. I had a point in my recovery about maybe a year after my suicide attempt where my psychiatrist moved. And so I had to get a new psychiatrist, and I was just depressed and overwhelmed. A friend of mine, I made some phone calls, and I couldn't find anyone that had any openings. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, took the list from my insurance company and sat down, and she made phone calls until she found someone who I could go see quickly. I don't know how to be able to thank that person for all that she did for me. And so if that is what you need someone to help you do, then ask for it. By all means, ask for it.
Sometimes making phone calls, yeah, well, because sometimes making phone calls can feel, um, the thought of making phone calls, as Matt pointed out just a little bit ago, the thought of making all those phone calls can be extremely, extremely overwhelming, and it can feel like too much of a task to take on.
Right.
And it's just easier for you to just give up at this point. And we're just here to tell you that we've been there. We get it. We don't want that to be what you're going through. So please reach out to someone, anyone. I had direct messages coming in today on Twitter of one of the members of our community really wanting to get in touch with one of the other members of our community to try to reach out and help through some of the things that they were going through, because they could have possibly been seriously contemplating suicide. So again, we have such a compassionate community of people, you guys. If you are an adult survivor of child abuse, if you are specifically an adult survivor of childhood sexual abuse, any kind of abuse, you guys, we have a community that is fully engaged, large, awesome in every way, and they want to help you, and they want to welcome you in and love you and send you virtual hugs and listen compassionately and ask you how you're doing, because they really care. So you're not alone. You're absolutely not alone, and I would love for you to reach out to one of us.
Yes. I think, for me at this point, the best thing I can always recommend to someone who's feeling suicidal is have someone come sit with you and make a plan on how you're going to cope. Have them physically come and sit with you and have you make a plan. Because Matt's right, when you're depressed, sometimes just the act of getting out of bed is a huge victory. So have someone help you with that. Have someone come over, sit in your presence, and help you to make a plan that will help you to feel better and that will get you the help that you need. It can be frustrating to call someplace after you've screwed up the courage to call one of these hotlines, and instead of it being helpful, maybe the lines are busy, or there's too many people in the chat room and you can't get the help you need, and you have to try someplace else. So have someone come and sit with you. That is one of the number one recommendations that I make with people who are feeling suicidal but don't actually have yet the plan, the means, and the intent. But by all means, reach out. Reach out to someone who cares about you, because I can guarantee they don't want you to sit there alone and suffer, and worst case scenario, complete suicide. It's not what we want. It's not what we want for you. You deserve better. You deserve to live, and you certainly deserve to be out of incredible emotional pain. I think is it okay if I pull up the one page?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I just, my computer's a little wonky right here for some reason. I know that this topic is very triggering, so I was just going to remind everyone just one more time. If you're triggered and this is very stressful for you to watch right now, I would like to recommend that you just press the pause button. If it's podcast or YouTube video, or if you're watching us on Roku TV in your living room or wherever you have your Roku device, please, if you're experiencing dry mouth or elevated heart rate or other signs of being triggered, please take a deep breath. Please press the pause button. Perhaps step outside for a few minutes and just come back another time. Come back and watch another time, and just know that you're not alone. Know that Bobby and I have been there, and that we have an entire community of people that we would love to welcome you into. And we get it. We understand. And there's nothing we haven't heard. So please, if you are triggered, just press the pause button. If you're extremely triggered, just log on to RAINN, RAINN.org, and click on the instant chat feature. And we'll be here. We aren't going anywhere. So just come back when you feel better.
Absolutely. Let's I don't know why it made that funny dink noise. Um, so here's the one page for today, and we're gonna.
Oh, it's because you're presenting to all.
Oh,
I
okay.
think, oh, that's awesome.
I never had it do that dink before. Okay, so here we are. And a lot of what you're going to see here are things that we've talked about before, earlier. So 40,000 people die by suicide a year in the United States alone. Every 13 minutes, 25 times as many attempted suicides. The one page talks in the next paragraph about the difference between passive and active suicidal ideation. And the reason I think this is important is because, like Athena mentioned, if you know the vocabulary of the whole concept of suicide, you're better able to get someone help. When you call a professional and you say, I'm sitting with someone who is actively suicidal, that means something entirely different. If you say, I'm sitting with someone who has passive thoughts of suicide.
Or who wants to hurt themselves. If you say, if you don't use the proper vernacular and you're really trying to help and you say, I'm sitting with someone who wants to hurt themselves or wants the pain to go away, and you don't use the words, they're actively considering suicide. They are, and I'm sorry, go ahead, Bobby.
No, absolutely right. We want, when you are accessing help for someone else, knowing the words, saying it with the right words is so important. Because when we use the right words, we're more able to get informed help for them and provide for them a safety, which is what they need. So passive suicidal ideation is when you're feeling like you don't want to kill yourself, but you wouldn't mind if you stepped off the next corner and a bus ran you over. Okay? You're not going to step in front of the bus on purpose, but if by accident you stepped off the curb and the bus ran you over, you wouldn't be upset. So if something else causes your death, you would actually kind of welcome that. But active suicidal ideation is when you want to cause your own death. The next paragraph talks about why people generally want to commit suicide, and there's a link there to the article that I wrote about the why behind suicide, and talks about the analogy of people jumping out of a burning building. The next paragraph, this is so important. There is actually a as you've noticed that we've talked about, there's a progression, a spectrum of suicidal thoughts, okay? There are those initial thoughts of, this is so hard, I don't have any more energy, I don't want to deal with this. If a anvil falls out of the sky and hits me on the head and I die, I'm okay with that. To, wow, I really think maybe killing myself might be an option. To, killing myself is an option, I'm going to buy a gun. To sitting in your car with the gun ready to kill yourself. Sometimes for people those happen, they happen very rapidly. My decision to kill myself went from 0 to 60 in 3 minutes flat because of a horrible betrayal that I experienced that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. But if you notice that you are starting to slide down that slippery slope, that's the time to get help. That's the time to ask for help. Please try and catch that suicidal thinking as early as possible on that spectrum, because the farther that you slide downhill, there's always the chance that when you are actively suicidal, you're not going to want help. I can remember when I was sitting on my sofa and I was actively in the process of engaging in my suicide attempt, and my mother called me on the phone. And we talked about a parade that had just happened. And yes, we talked about the pictures on TV. Yes. Okay, Mom, yep, I'll talk to you later. Love you a bunch. Bye. I hung up, and then I continued to do what I was doing to kill myself. I didn't want help. Now, had I gotten help, had I asked for help further back, yes, then I wanted help. But in that moment, sometimes people don't want help. They're not going to reach out. So please, by all means, intervene as early as possible. Call your therapist, call your physician, call your clergy person, a safe friend, one of the crisis help features. And then do everything you can to reduce your level of emotional pain. And like Matt mentioned on Twitter, reduce the overwhelm. Ask the people who are your support team to check in with you frequently and see how you're doing. I know that when I was in the hospital because I was suicidal, they had a 15-minute check. Every 15 minutes, they had to come find me wherever I was on the ward and check and make sure that I was okay. If you have a friend who's suicidal who needs that, checks that frequently, you need to call 911 or you need to take them to the hospital. But it's perfectly okay to say, you know what, I'm going to call you at noon every day. I want you to be honest with me and tell me how you're doing. Okay? And it's okay for you to ask, can you call me every day and check in with me? I really need that right now. It's okay to ask for what you need. The next paragraph is something I already talked about when I was looking at you face to face. If you feel suicidal frequently, this is a clear indication you're not getting the right help. So do what you need to do. Change your medication, change the kind of treatment you're getting. Maybe you're getting cognitive behavioral therapy and you need dialectic behavioral therapy. Maybe you need EMDR. So whatever it is that you're doing, it's not effective, or the people that you're working with are not a good fit for you. And you know what? That happens. It doesn't mean you're a bad client. It doesn't mean they're a bad provider. It just means you're not a good fit for each other. If someone tells you that they are feeling suicidal, please provide them with immediate support and assistance. Okay? They need that. They really need to know that when they say that word, I really feel like killing myself, that you're taking them seriously and that you're not judging. You say, okay, hang on, I'll be there in half an hour, or I'll be there in 5 minutes. I'll help you. We'll sit down and we'll come up with a plan. I'll help you. Sit with them.
Taking the judgment. We mentioned this this morning in chat real quick, Bobby.
Yes.
Taking the judgment out of the verbiage you're using regarding the way that you're feeling is going to help you unravel it and not feel so overwhelmed. So the stigma that is attached to suicide and suicidal thoughts, and the guilt that's attached to the stigma and the shame and all of it, is just this it's this perpetuating cycle.
It is.
And it is so tragic, because in that moment you are shaming yourself for thinking about suicide, and the shame makes you feel worse, so you want to commit suicide even more. But right. We're here to tell you that it's where you're at is okay. One of our gals during chat this morning was I could hear there was a lot of judgment in her voice, and she was judging herself, and she was feeling terrible to have quote unquote bothered us with her thoughts. I couldn't respond quick enough to let her know, you are not bothering us. We believe you, we trust you, we love you, you're not alone, we've been there. And where you're at right now, the pain you're feeling right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. It's okay to not be okay.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I just wish I could scream that from the mountaintops, Bobby. I wish all of the people watching right now knew that not feeling okay all the time is perfectly okay. And it makes you human. It doesn't make you wrong or a psycho, or holding your finger up and twirling it around in circles by your ear. If I'm talking with my hands right now, the way people talk about when you're cuckoo. No. If you survived an extended period of time of being abused, or if you were raped or molested, or if you're watching this broadcast, obviously you're a survivor of abuse, that what the best way it was ever described to me was by one of my counselors. And she said, Athena, and this is when I was this is one of the times that I was suicidal. Athena, the things that happened to you when you were little were outrageous. It is natural for your body to now rage out. Think about it. And it just, light bulbs went off all over my brain. I was like, wait a second. Oh, I get it. So it's okay that I'm feeling this way. And Bobby and I want to just hold your face in our hands right now and just say, it is okay for you to feel the way you're feeling right now. It's absolutely okay. We aren't judging you. We're not telling you you need to hurry up and feel better. And what's wrong with you? Haven't we been down this road before? You're never going to hear those types of things from anyone that has a lick of training and in being trauma informed. It is just the absolute wrong, atrocious approach to take with someone who's in trauma. So it's okay, whatever you're feeling right now, whatever feeling it is, whether it's joy, sadness, pain, horror, fear, it's okay. What you're feeling is absolutely okay. You're feeling exactly what you need to be feeling at this moment, even if it's not great. And know that no matter how good you feel and no matter how bad you feel, this too shall pass. If you're feeling super duper 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 great one day, there's a chance that you're not going to feel super duper 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 great every single day for the rest of your life, even if you did the exact same thing like Groundhog Day and woke up and did all the same stuff. Because we live in a world where everything changes constantly. So you are okay. Everything that you're thinking and feeling right now is okay. It's more than okay. It's perfect. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, looking at this screen, listening to our voices, and knowing that you matter, you're deeply loved, and you're not alone. So, yeah, Bobby.
I think if we could take the judgment out of the whole field of suicide, it would be one incredibly awesome thing, and I'm willing to bet that suicidal ideation and suicide will diminish if the judgment is removed from it.
I agree.
Because, people don't get the help they need because other people are judgmental. People don't get the help they need because they're afraid people are going to judge them. It's a vicious cycle. It really is. And I hate it. I hate it for the people that I talk to who are feeling so horrible, but feel like they can't get the help they need. It's awful. And so, Athena and I are here to provide you with as many resources and truth and reality as we can so that you get the help that you need and you can ask for the help that you need. Let's look at this final paragraph. If someone tells you that they're feeling suicidal, again, as I said, offer them immediate support. Sit with them while they make phone calls for them. If they call their therapist and their therapist says, I have an opening in half an hour, come on in, and they need someone to drive them there, by all means, drive them there, sit in the waiting room, and wait for them to come out and see, what kind of future support that they might need in that moment. If they are actively suicidal with means and a plan, it's absolutely okay to call 911 and sit with them and wait while an ambulance comes. I did a podcast interview a couple weeks ago talking with someone about suicide, and they said they had heard that one of the reasons that people don't go to the emergency room when they feel suicidal is because they're afraid they're going to get locked up. It might happen, but at least you will be alive. You will be safe. So, and I've been in psychiatric wards. I probably had back in the early to mid 90s, maybe 7 different psychiatric hospital stays. They are not one flew over the cuckoo's nest madness and craziness like they're depicted in the movies. So I don't want that to stop anyone from going to the emergency room or calling 911. If your very life is at stake, I would rather see you in the hospital than dead.
Yeah.
So here are some resources. RAINN, again, Athena talked about them. RAINN's number 1-800-656-HOPE, and then they have their crisis chat feature on their website, rainn.org. And then there's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-TALK, which is 8255. Again, 1-800-273-8255. And they also have a crisis chat feature, but it's a whole different website, which is crisischat.org. So there's 2 phone numbers, 2 crisis chat features. If you're in the UK, the Samaritans provide crisis and suicidal counseling over the phone, 08457 909090. They also offer hope via text, which I think is the coolest thing in the world. And that is 07725, and again, 909090. And of course, the old standby, 911. So please, if you need help, reach out. Reach out to one of these crisis features, reach out to your therapist, reach out to someone that loves you, and get the help that you need, and have someone help you stick with asking for help until you've gotten what you need. And I'm going to do the stop sharing thing there. You're back. I'm back.
You're back. I just took a picture of our screen and I'm tweeting it out right now using our hashtags. So
Okay.
with the suicide resources, that way everybody can have access to them like right now. So
Absolutely. Do you want to put up the contact information? You want me to do that?
yeah, that sounds great. You guys, we just, most importantly, we just want you to know that we're here for you and we're not the only ones that are here for you. Like what you're going through right now that feels completely permanent is not permanent. I promise that this is going to pass. And I know that this sounds like a pat answer or something that is not going to apply to you, or it sounds a little like disingenuous, but it's not. This has helped me a lot. And that is, we can't undo overnight what took years to do. So the abuse that you incurred, if you're still struggling with it now to this day and it was from your childhood, chances are it was not an isolated incident. Chances are it was for years or months or extended over decades like mine. And if that's the case, then, and like Bobby's as well, if that's the case, then we cannot just undo lickety split snap overnight what took so many years to do to us. So it's a long journey. Recovery is a long journey, but it is so possible. And even more than it being possible, it's worth it. It's completely worth it. So I just want to encourage you.
Exactly. And someone said, and as I talk there, I'm going to get, this is going to come up on the screen, but someone this morning on Twitter said, I've just started my recovery journey and everyone talking about suicide, this is scaring me. And she said, is this, sorry, I'm trying to, there we go. She said, am I going to feel suicidal? And my answer is absolutely, that's not a necessary part of recovery. Feeling suicidal, I think, is an indication that you're in so much pain you need some extra help. Or again, it's an indication you're not getting the right kind of help. So if you're getting appropriate trauma-informed quality care, often enough, I think there's not a reason that you're going to need to feel suicidal, because you will have your pain addressed in a trauma-informed way, and you'll have a team supporting you. For those of us that really struggle with suicide, I think it's because we didn't get the right kind of help, or we tried to get help and we got that awful judgment instead, and that just
Yeah.
shamed us and made us feel even worse.
Which is exactly what judgment always does. It makes you, it is meant for you to feel shame, and it just perpetuates the cycle. It makes you feel worse. So when we remove the judgment from our words, it really helps to perpetuate our healing. So really, really sit there and think, am I judging myself in what I'm thinking about myself right now? Am I shaming myself for having suicidal thoughts? And if the answer is yes, please just take a deep breath and try to rephrase the statement you're thinking about yourself, please.
You know, one of the things that I believe really heavily, and I tell my clients, is that our emotions are messengers. They're trying to tell us something we need to pay attention to. So if we feel ashamed, it's telling us that we've made a judgment of ourselves about something, or someone in the past has judged us and we have assumed that judgment. When you realize that, you can get rid of it. You know, you can recognize it for what it is, and you know, chuck it out of your head. I don't need that judgment. Let's look at some ways that you can connect with us and our community. We have 2 Twitter chats each week. The first is on Mondays, and that's the hashtag CSAQT, Child Sexual Abuse Question Time. That's at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and at 6 p.m. in the UK. Monday evenings, we're here at our Google Hangout every week, come rain or come shine, and that is at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that's 2 a.m. in the UK. And if you can't stay up that late in the UK, it's okay. All of our broadcasts roll over to YouTube and our Roku TV channel, so they're there. You can also catch us at our second Twitter chat of the week on Tuesday evenings here in the US at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 2 o'clock in the morning, again, for those people in the UK who can't sleep or who work nights and are up during the day. Wait, that's not right. Work day. Oh, anyway, if you're awake.
You know what, Bobby? I think that on Tuesdays, it's almost our third Twitter chat, because Monday mornings is CSAQT.
Right.
Monday evenings is hashtag no more shame, because people are tweeting in and they're chatting live.
Right.
Right? They
Right.
don't have to watch the live stream. Like, they could just watch the Twitter stream if they wanted, but it's kind of a Twitter chat because they're using the hashtag.
We do love Twitter.
Yeah, we do. We do.
And again, you can find us 24/7, 365 on our YouTube channel, or on Roku TV. Every week we broadcast live at bit.ly Trauma Recovery U, with a capital T, capital R, capital U. And anytime you can ask to join one of our private secret Facebook groups. Just friend us on Facebook, and we will help you get plugged in. And of course, let us know that's what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, just friend me and then leave me.
Yeah. Let us know you want to get plugged in. And I want to encourage everyone, if you are private messaging Bobby or myself on Facebook, please friend us and private message us on our personal accounts rather than the Trauma Recovery University page. For some reason, it put I found 4 messages from you guys from 2014, like 6 or 7 months ago. And I responded to those today, apologizing, like, I'm so sorry that I don't know why it went into a different folder. Who knew there were folders? Like, anyway, so just, we're on Twitter every day, we're on Facebook every day, but like, we're on our personal accounts. So just for some reason, our TRU fan page, facebook.com/Trauma Recovery University. I don't know where these messages went. They were in some sort of other folder. So we really want to be available to you guys. We're coming up here in September, we're going to be implementing office hours, and we're going to make sure that we're available certain times of the week for you guys as an added value. And just some things that we're launching, some really exciting videos and online courses and membership so that you can have access to everything. And so yeah, just get in touch with us, you guys. We really want to make sure that we're here for you. You guys are the reason that we're here and why we do everything we do. So please continue to reach out to us.
Yes, and here's how.
Yes. Ooh, perfect segue. Woo!
There we go. Okay. Boom. Okay. Email. We try to reply within 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes it is difficult, or we actually might have a day off or something, but we'll try and let you know when one of us is not available and the other person will be covering. But you can reach me at my email address, bobbylparish@gmail.com. Athena is at athena@athenamoberg.com. And then we have the No More Shame Project at gmail.com, which both of us have access to. On Twitter, I am Truth is Hers. Athena is Athena Moberg, and Trauma Recovery University is Trauma Recovery U. And then, like Athena said, down there you've got information about our Facebook pages, the Trauma Recovery University, my business page, Bobby Parish Coaching and Consulting, and Athena Moberg fan page. Please don't message us at one of those three. Instead, friend us. We would love to be friends with you, and then send us a private message that way, because we're both on Facebook every day, and we both have our Facebook message system set up to let us know when someone sends us a private message. Unlike our fan pages or Trauma Recovery University, those aren't set up to give us an immediate alert. On YouTube, we are at Trauma Recovery University, on Roku TV, and Google, also Trauma Recovery University.
Yes.
Yay!
Yay. Well, you guys, we are so excited that you have hung out. We still have these viewers that are here. You guys are rock stars. Gosh, I know we went way over time, you guys, and we're like 30 minutes over time. Sorry, Harriet. This is a big topic. Bobby and I are honored to be your trauma recovery coaches. We are honored to be with you every single week and to lead these communities, these lived experience, safe communities for you to receive recovery and compassion and trauma recovery. So continue to email us, continue to private message us, continue to give us your topics that you want us to talk about. I believe, gosh, there was codependency was a topic that was just recently given to me twice. Yeah. So Bobby, we got to have that. I keep forgetting what we have going on for next week, but I know codependency was a self-care, yes. And not to be confused with hygiene, because I feel like our hygiene video was mostly about hygiene and not self-care. So,
no.
But self-care is a big one. Yeah, yes. Remember, because I was there with you. Yay! And our picture that we have on our little page there that we just showed with all of our information makes it look like we're together all the time, but we were only together for just a few days because I got to go to Texas. So, but yes, please continue sending us your topics. We're going to be talking about self-care next week. We're gonna be talking about codependency here coming up pretty soon. We are also going to be talking about community. I was just recently watching one of our old videos, and we talked about how we wanted to do a special hour-long episode just on the topic of community. We'll probably tie that in with No More Shame November, since our second annual anthology is all about being together in community and how community is shame's kryptonite. So any final parting thoughts, Bobby, for all of our wonderful people? Any parting thoughts?
Just thank you so much for being here today. And if you're here today because you Googled and you're looking for some information on suicide, please just go ahead and listen to the entire video, which if you're here listening to me now, you probably have, and follow through with the steps that we encouraged you to take. Reach out. There's no shame in what you're feeling and what you're thinking, and we want you to be okay because you're worth it. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. You guys are worth it. You can use the hashtag No More Shame to reach us 24/7, 365. I monitor that hashtag. And then I also wanted to give a really quick shout out to our friends over at SPSM. That's hashtag S like Sam, P like Paul, S like Sam, M like Mary. And what that stands for is suicide prevention via social media. They have a Twitter chat on Sundays. I've attended a few times. Bobby's attended a few times. And I really want to plug them because they are a huge community of helping professionals. And all they want to do is make sure that every single person out there in the whole wide world that is contemplating suicide gets the help they need. So tell the world about them. They're awesome. I'm not a paid employee. This is not a some sort of sponsorship deal where I get paid because I'm saying it. I just want you guys to have the information, and I just wanted to say a quick hello to them. So thank you once again for tuning into this very long episode of Trauma Recovery University, where Bobby Parrish and myself, Athena Moberg, really enjoy spending time with you and trying to give you open, raw communication and conversation that is educational regarding everything you need for healthy, informed trauma recovery. So until next week, please practice excellent self-care. That is our topic next week, and we'll see you next time. Aloha.
Bye, everybody.